There are a lot of different productivity hacks out there. We've tried a lot of different productivity hacks. I would say we're quite productive people. We both have successful online businesses. We've run 33 marathons in the last 20 months. We've built some size in the gym. We've learned some languages. So we're quite productive. We've also tried a lot of productivity hacks. A lot of these don't work. So we're going to go through probably the combined decade of trying out these things, and we're going to condense this down into however long this video is, so you can just cut through all the noise and figure out what actually works. So we're going to do a little tier list to figure out what are the best and what are the worst productivity hacks.
Yeah, I'm scared for how many garbage ones there's going to be that we did for years and years, but here we go.
Yeah. By the way, when I'm talking about productivity, I'm talking about how quickly something allows us to progress and move towards our goal. Obviously, you need a goal in the first place, but after that is how strong of a return can this get us on our time to progress quickly towards our goals. All right, let's start off with caffeine here. Where are we putting caffeine?
Yeah, off the bat, I'm thinking around C tier. Like, definitely can help with productivity a bit, especially if you don't have good focus. But there's quite a few drawbacks, at least for me. Jitteriness, kind of sometimes overstimulating, not ideal. So yeah, I'm thinking about C.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think caffeine's probably a C tier. It's good, it gives you more energy, but I think a lot of people use it as a crutch when they get bad sleep and they go, okay, let me just drink more and more caffeine. I also think the big problem with caffeine is it's not sustainable. You drink it and it's like, great, I feel great today. Then tomorrow you go, okay, I have to drink it again. And then you build up this tolerance and then you go, well, I either have to increase my dose or I have to stop taking it completely. And it's not really something that's sustainable. So if it's something you're relying upon and you know it's not sustainable, then for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. This is one of the reasons I stopped consuming caffeine. And I have to notice one of the big changes is, especially when you have a few of these other productivity hacks in place, getting rid of caffeine doesn't change your behaviors. But for me, it improved my subjective well-being because my anxiety went down a lot. I wasn't stressed or anxious, and just general quality of life was just way better when I was doing that.
Yeah, and you said like it improves your day. It doesn't even improve the whole day. It spikes for like 90 minutes. You maybe get like a bit of draw off after that. But yeah, it's pretty short acting. So we happy with C?
Yeah, let's do it. C tier for caffeine. All right, next one we have is waking up at 5 a.m. For me, this is a D tier. This is not a productivity hack. I think this is anti-productivity. The whole idea that you have to wake up early to be more productive is just stupid for me, because being productive is doing the behaviors that move you towards your goals. It doesn't matter when you do them. And for most of us, waking up at 5 a.m. means that, or whatever time that may be, I was waking up at 4 a.m. at one point. All that does is that it puts you in an extremely fragile routine, so that if you are awake after 8 p.m., 9 p.m., it's like, well, my day is kind of ruined because now it's going to be really tough to get up at 4, 5 a.m. It doesn't make sense. You wake up tired, it destroys your sleep quality, which means that all of your work downstream is worse, the quality is worse. I think this is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole podcast on this, and the fragility of the early wake up is really the biggest thing. You can't do it consistently. And yeah, you have this fake association that, in the early hours of the morning, I do productive things, which you can change to any time of the day. You can say, midday is when I do my productive things, or 9 p.m. is when I do my productive things. Like, obviously, a small caveat if you're the type of person that is naturally very awake and things are happening at 4 a.m. for you, but I think 99% of the population would rather be in bed. So I think listen to your body. 5 a.m. is a bit of a masquerade of a productivity hack. Yeah. I think it's really anti-productivity.
Yeah, it's sort of just signaling, oh, look how great I am, I wake up early. But it doesn't do anything. I think the only thing that this is good for is people who are in a 9 to 5 or have some kind of time commitment where they have to sacrifice a portion of their day to pursue something that's not their main goal. So if you're in a 9 to 5, then this is what we both did, is you wake up at 4, 5 a.m. to just get the work done on your business, on your escape plan. But for most of the people watching this who are entrepreneurs, this doesn't really make sense, because you can wake up and work whenever you want. You have no huge chunk of your day that you have to sacrifice to a corporation. So why are we getting up at 5 a.m. now?
Yeah, I mean, it'll kind of apply to the whole list, is that your situation will depend on what you can select from this list to what you use, and you got to use what you had. And for us, when we were in the Matrix, this was, we had to use D tier productivity for the hacks to get out.
Okay, yeah, D tier 100%.
Lock it in.
100% D tier. All right,
interesting. Next up we got ice baths, which is an interesting one because we both did, especially you did this for a really long time.
Yeah. So ice bath, I bought an ice bath I think
Not even just bought an ice bath, you bought a chest freezer that you then converted into an ice bath with some silicone tubing and like a timer that kept it at like, what, 4 degrees?
4 degrees, yeah. And
Yeah.
it cost me like $1,000 and I was dirt poor at university. And I thought, this is an S tier productivity hack. I think looking at this now, we might not put this in S tier. What does an ice bath do for your productivity?
I mean, it's generally just like alertness, really. Like if you're using it straight after waking up, like it'll definitely make you alert and wake and probably make the next couple of hours of work more productive. You're not just trying to shake off any grogginess. But yeah, the timing of this really impacts where I would use it. I mean, but it probably has similar effects throughout the day. I've just never done a bit of work and then got in the ice bath for 5 minutes, got back out to do more work. But I think it would probably have a similar effect in terms of like increased alertness, maybe a bit more focus, but it's not going above a B for me.
Yeah, so I remember there was a period where I was waking up at 5 a.m. and then getting in an ice bath. I actually had a period of, I think it was 30 days, where I increased the duration I spent in an ice bath. So it was at 4 degrees Celsius. And I increased and increased and I increased. And I think I got up, I think my top was 45 minutes. I was basically giving myself hypothermia every day just to masquerade as, ooh, I'm so productive. But when you look at the benefits, especially of 45 minutes or even doing more than 5 minutes, it doesn't really make sense. I think one of the big things is the friction is really high. It's a very hard thing to do. So the idea of you waking up and going, all right, another day 100, let me jump in the ice bath again. Probably not going to happen. And if you can't do it consistently, then it's very hard to consider it a high quality productivity hack.
But on the other side of that, it's like you probably do the hardest thing for, like, your work is easier after 5 minutes in the ice bath. Like, I agree, diminishing returns kick in after 5 minutes. 45 minutes is ridiculous. But like the work would probably seem a lot easier. I mean, it does seem a lot easier. I mean, I definitely found that. Like the ice bath was usually the hardest part of my day, especially getting in winter.
And you do feel very good coming out of it. That being said, I want to put this in C tier.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, ice bath, C tier. All right, next one we have is decision elimination. So this is essentially you sitting down for your work and not having to think about what to do. You just do the task that you've already predefined. Now this, even if this is a health related thing, this might be you opening up the fridge and just pulling out your meal prepped meal, like not having to make decisions in the moment. And I think the reason that this is, in my opinion, an extremely high quality one is because whenever we make decisions in the moment, we make decisions more based on emotions and feeling good. Generally, doing things that make you feel good in the moment are not correlated with productive activities, things moving you towards a goal. So this really removes decisions from the moment and allows you to think and act a little bit more objectively. So I like this one a lot, but what do you think about this?
100%. Yeah, it's heading up towards S tier for me. This being able to pre-make decisions, you're able to like logically lay out, here's all the benefits, here's why it's a good decision. And if you can lock that in ahead of time, before you have to actually make the trade, make the payoff of like the painful, sacrifice or just the difficult decision in the moment, not choosing the thing that feels best. It's going to have it has had such a huge return on my productivity still to this day. And it's one of the ones I'm still using all the time. So it's S tier for me.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about this as well is that it doesn't take a huge amount of time. When you think about the return that you get on your time, when it takes such little time, it's just an insane ROI, high leverage activity.
Well, you have to make the decision at some point anyway. So this is just changing the time at which you make the decision so that it's further away from when you actually complete the action. And so you've locked it in. So really, it's not even an add. It's like a substitution, which, on the list of like subtraction being best, substitution's next. It's even better than adding anything in. So yeah, this is definitely an S tier.
Yep, decision elimination, S tier. Okay.
The first S tier in the list.
It's high quality. I do love it. Okay, next one we have is website blocking. So basically access blocking to distracting websites while you're working. We could say apps as well. Just distraction blocking.
Yeah. I think this is subtly a lot more important than people think, because I think people probably reflect on the work they did and think that it was more productive than it was, just because they were probably, focused still at the desk, at the computer, tapping keys. But if you were, just messing around on ChatGPT and you can very easily scope drift into just doing basically absolutely anything that's not actually moving you towards your goal. And I think this is one of the one things you can do to actually ensure that the work you're doing is the needle moving stuff, is the right things to be allocating your time to. So it's looking orange for me right now.
Yeah, I think website blocking is one of those ones that I think because it's so mainstream, people think, it's not that effective. But if you can do something, set something up once so that you can instantly change your behaviors for a long period of time, I think that's very powerful. And especially when I would consider this a subtraction. It might take like 10 minutes, but then it saves you a huge amount of time downstream of that. Big set and forget. And I think a huge part of productivity that I think we both discovered is it's less about adding stuff and more about removing stuff. And I think this is a big removal one. How can I remove all of the obstacles, all the rocks in the way, and just clear the path? I would love to put this in S. I'm not sure it's quite S tier, but I'm tempted to say A tier here.
Yeah, I'm A tier is good for me, but I think this is especially helpful if you're someone who uses your laptop for entertainment or for other things. I think I personally find this less of a heightened, not as good of a productivity hack for me, just because I basically only use my laptop for work, and like it's kind of always been like that for me. Like my phone was definitely the bigger distractor and entertainment device compared to my laptop. But if you're someone who's always on their laptop for everything, yeah, this is definitely big. But I would agree with A tier.
Okay, let's put an A tier.
The
first A tier. Next one we have is regular exercise.
Yeah, this personal favorite of mine, I would say. I think, again, like a lot of hidden benefits, I think, that flow on to broadly, like just your whole life. And I think like the focus and the actual, productive output that you can get on your work just from exercising is huge. Huge.
Okay, I have a little bit of a different opinion on this one, because we have to go all the way back to what are we solving for? And if we're aiming towards the North Star related to growing our business, then doing exercise is not necessarily helping with that. I think one of the big things that we've noticed that people who don't do exercise is that it's harder for them to fall asleep, and it's probably going to reduce your sleep quality. I think that has a big impact on your cognitive function, which is going to have a big impact on your work itself. I think exercise also gives you a little bit more energy long term. I think the timing of exercise is very important. So if you do exercise before work, I think this is actually a subtractor. I think this is anti-productive, because you come into your work blocks and you have less physical energy, you have less mental energy. But I think if you do it at the end of your day, after all of your work, then you'll sleep better. I think you're temporarily more tired, but that's fine because you're not doing anything afterwards. And then you just generally have more energy available long term. So I think it's beneficial, but I don't think it's absolutely top tier for the specific purposes of being more productive and moving you towards growing your business. If we talk about life in general, right? Being a healthier person, like this is the health bucket. Like this is crucial, which is why I love exercise, but I think it can't get in the way.
Yeah. No, okay, you're probably right. You make a lot of good points. I think maybe I'm just a bit excited because I haven't been to the gym yet today, seeing a dumbbell on the screen. But yeah, it's not really a direct correlation to your output. It's, the flow on is a bit more subtle. Still important, but not as good as I was initially excited for.
I want to put this in B tier. I think it's definitely better than caffeine and ice baths, but I think it's not an A tier.
Yeah, having some reference points here is making the decisions a lot easier now. Yeah, I'm happy with B.
All right.
We're going very, very evenly spread at the moment. We'll see how it ends up. But
yep, so regular exercise, B tier. Next one we have is 90-minute deep work blocks. So this is kind of the idea of working with your ultradian rhythms, where kind of like your sleep cycles, you have 90-minute sleep cycles. Your brain can work at peak cognitive function for about 90 minutes, and then after that, the fatigue comes in, the diminishing returns kick in. So the idea is you do sort of a 90-minute deep work block, give yourself a 20-minute break, and then another 90-minute deep work block. So you're kind of working with the natural cycles of your brain. What do we think about this?
Yeah, I think high. I mean, from personal experience, it's been true. The facts have been aligned with my personal experience of getting the best returns in a 90-minute block compared to, I mean, we talk about the Pomodoro later, but 50-minute blocks, or trying to just work until you give up basically, or until the task is done. Yeah. And like another thing with forcing yourself to finish, even if you're midway through a task or there's a defined end time, is that it's easier to start again. If you're halfway through a task, there's less friction on having to sit down and start a new task from the very beginning. So that's another benefit.
Yeah, I'm not sure the effect's called, but when you stop a task halfway through it, your brain, it's kind of like an open loop, and it's a lot easier for your brain to jump back into it than if you're looking at a new scary task and you go, I don't want to do that. And you maybe push off the task a bit more, but this kind of keeps you working peak cognitive function and then kind of allows you to just keep open loops going. I really like this.
Yeah, I mean, I like to talk about like action into fear a lot of the time. Like there's always fear starting a new task, like even, especially if it's a big scary one you've been putting off. So being able to like reduce the effect of that just by having to start it midway through a block, you already built up momentum.
Yeah.
It's big.
I don't like fear reduction isn't going to be a specific productivity hack, but reducing the amount of fear that you have going into tasks is a huge ROI. I really like this. I would be tempted to put this in A tier.
I was going to go S.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think we can go between.
No, we can't.
But I don't think this is as important as eliminating decisions, but I think this is better than blocking apps.
Yeah. Well, we can order within the tier.
I think this is top of A right now.
Okay, top of A. We can have a little rejig at the end as well if needed. But okay.
Okay, so A tier for 90-minute deep work blocks. Next one is sauna. So for a bit of context, we went halves on a sauna. Well, not quite halves. There were a few other guys involved, but back when I was living in Melbourne, when we were both living in Melbourne, we bought a sauna, an infrared sauna to have in the house, which was a fun toy to have. The intention was to improve our productivity, I suppose. What do we think about saunas?
Yeah, the intention. The difference between the intention and the outcome there. Yeah. This was a big purchase. This was like more than $5,000 split between us for a wooden box that heated us up. I mean, it was very enjoyable. Like, put that aside. That was
sauna conversations are great.
Yeah, sauna conversations were great. Like the feeling of coming out of the sauna. And like just doing a difficult thing, like building up your heat tolerance and like trying to remain calm when you're getting really hot in a sauna is, I think, a beneficial thing. But related to productivity, this is looking low on the list. This is looking like between ice bath and 5 a.m. for me.
Well, I think the thing about saunas is that they take a lot of time. Like you have to sit in a sauna for a good 30, 40 minutes to be really getting some effects. I hear people going, yeah, but 16x your growth hormone release and all this stuff. It's like, this is not an 80-20 for health. And I certainly don't think it's an 80-20 for productivity.
Yeah, it might not even be a 20-80 for productivity. Despite that, we did it for a very long time. I think it's easy, well, maybe not an easy thing to add to the routine, but it's an enjoyable thing to do. But if you're doing it to try and improve your productivity, you're probably not spending your time very effectively.
Really low ROI, really fun. I think this is D tier.
And kind of a bit of a craze as well. Like I definitely think, like especially in the past like 5 years, just taken off. Like you can tell just by like the amount of like sauna establishments there are around and like the amount of, when we went to sell this sauna, when we moved from Melbourne, I put a Facebook post up to sell it and I could scroll on my phone like 6 or 7 times within like 6 hours of putting up the ad with everyone who is messaging me interested in this sauna. So there's a huge amount of demand out there for saunas right now, but it's going to be D tier, I think.
Yeah, sauna D tier. It's not as bad as waking up at 5 a.m., which is an anti-productivity, but ROI extremely low. So D tier sauna, better than the 5 a.m. though, I would have to say.
Yeah, it's like improved sleep as well. It's a few kind of similar to working out. A few knock-on benefits to health that will have very small, less than 1% increases on your productivity, but not enough to measure.
Okay, so next one we have is sleep optimization.
Talking about things you can measure. This is definitely a big one. If you think about, okay, productivity is like what return you're getting on your time when you're focusing on the inputs that are getting you towards your goal. Just picture yourself having to do that amount of work, that task, that input, feeling really well rested, waking up feeling great, alert, having consistent sleep versus you having gone to bed at 4 a.m. on 5 hours sleep after like a couple nights of poor sleep. Like you're two different people.
Oh yeah.
And like I said this before, if sleep was a pill that you could take and you could sell as a drug, it would be the best selling drug of all time.
100%.
So yeah, I think it's heading its way up
It's north.
on the rankings.
For sure. I mean, think about sleep. It improves your energy levels, improves your focus, improves your decision making. Probably the highest leverage thing that you can possibly do. Have good decision making. Subjective well-being wise, I think there's few things that you can do to improve your subjective well-being than getting high quality sleep. This is an extremely powerful one. I think you look at a lot of the anti-aging guys, Brian Johnson right now. It's all like, yes, I spend all this money on all these different treatments, but getting the sleep right was better than all of them. And I think it's something that we all know, but is it something that we're doing properly? I think when we talk about sleep optimization, it is how much can you prioritize your sleep? Can you be going to bed around the same time every night, waking up at the same time every day, getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, cold, dark, quiet room, just doing the basics that everyone already knows. Doing this, ROI, extremely high.
It really is like, can you protect these hours and keep them just for sleep? Because like it's boring, and that's why all the guys at the top, the humans, the Brian Johnsons talk about sleep as like the first lever to pull, and even like if you get like a mental health plan from a doctor, the first lever they pull is sleep. Like
Right.
They just like one of the biggest improvements you can make to life, and so flow on effect is having to productivity here, but. Yeah, it is boring to talk about or to get right and to stay consistent with. But I think it's heading up to S tier. I mean, it's interesting that we got two basically like decision-making frames
Improvers.
or like improvers in S tier.
When back at the very, very start of my channel, because I've known about the importance of sleep for a really long time. Wearing a Whoop, a wearable, like it really hammers on about this. But I made a few videos about sleep, and I was like, everyone needs to know about this. This is so important. Absolutely bombed. No one cares. No one's interested. It's just the boring stuff. But like this is, in my opinion, one of the highest leverage things you can do is just get your sleep right for everything, like for your work, for just how you subjectively feel, your just life well-being. You're a completely different person, as you said, on 5 hours of sleep versus on 10, for example, 10 hours in bed. Pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it's just boring. It's hard to market good sleep.
It is,
but it's the biggest lever to pull. I think you'd be going number one here above decision elimination or proactive decision making.
This is currently top of S for sleep. This is, I agree.
Number one.
This is a big boy. All right, next.
Probably not what people would have thought if they looked at the list ahead of time.
No,
I think. But definitely
maybe not.
From our experience, I think
Sleep's been really big. Okay, next one we have is a very popular one, meditation. Where are we putting meditation? What do we think about meditation?
It's definitely bottom 50%, I would say. Maybe even lower. Like kind of what we're talking about with health. Like what is the direct correlation to your productivity here? Like after a meditation, you're probably more focused. What else? You spent time essentially doing nothing to like clear your brain. You probably have, you probably make better decisions after a meditation. It's generally a good practice for being able to, deal with boredom and order your thoughts.
I think the idea of not optimizing your sleep and then meditating is just silly to me, because I think a lot of the benefits that meditation provides are related to sleep in terms of improving your calmness, improving your subjective well-being, slightly improving decision-making, but it's just not as effective as just being asleep, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's really just like a separate skill that I just don't think has great correlation to productivity.
One thing it can do is improve your focus. And I think that's quite beneficial. Is what is your current ability to do nothing, to just sit there and do absolutely nothing? For most people, that's impossible. I actually think for most people, it's a very difficult task to meditate, and that can be quite valuable. But I think it's probably better to be able to focus individually on a task that moves you towards your goals than focus individually on your breath, for example.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, I'm just looking at the list here. I'm looking at CT. I'm looking at caffeine and ice baths, and I'm thinking, okay, if I had a cup of coffee or had some caffeine, compared to if I had an ice bath, compared to if I did like say half an hour meditation, what's my work block after that going to look like? I think it's probably worse than both of those two things.
And in terms of real life experience, I actually did an experiment at the end of 2024, right after I quit my job, where I meditated for an hour every single day for a month. It wasn't game changing. It wasn't life changing at all, I don't think. Like I think the reason I did this was Naval said something about, a 1 hour meditation a day is going to completely change your life. Didn't really get that, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just coming back to like, what effect do I think it's going to have if I started work directly after doing this meditation? I think it's pretty minimal effect on the actual work itself. I think, possibly better benefits than the rest of things in C tier long term. I think probably a good skill to build once you have extra time and you don't want to spend it on other areas of your health. I don't think it's a bad thing to do, but if you're trying to optimize your productivity, I wouldn't be meditating.
No, I would probably put this between coffee and an ice bath.
I guess you prefer to meditate than get in an ice bath if you're trying to if you only had those options.
Yeah, because I think if you take into consideration the longevity of ice baths and like how likely is it that you're going to do an ice bath, I think you're far more likely to meditate. I think that means like long term, you probably get slightly better benefits. And I think improvement in focus is more valuable than an increase in dopamine temporarily.
Yeah, I mean, I think you say that being someone who's lived without online entertainment by themselves for 500 days, it's very easy for you to go and meditate. But for most people,
True.
Choosing to do absolutely nothing compared to consuming some sort of entertainment is just as much of a difficult task, if not more difficult, than getting in an ice bath for 5 minutes, especially if we're setting the benchmark at half an hour. Meditate. That's like a lot of people have to work up from like 5 minutes.
That's a lot. Okay, all right.
I mean, yeah, we could.
Let's put this at the bottom of C then. Bottom of C for meditation. Meh. So overrated, I think. Everyone's like, no, you got to meditate. Meditating is really important, but
And again, I think people reach the diminishing returns and like get really, really into meditation.
yeah.
And like it becomes like a lot of their personality, and I think you're diminishing returns as well for productivity. Like you obviously do what you want with your life and how you want to focus on health, and like using it for like spirituality, it's a separate conversation.
Right.
But in the terms of the ultimate productivity tier list, I like where it's sitting right now in D.
I agree. I mean the tier list looks completely different if you're optimizing for health. We're optimizing for how effectively does this move us towards business growth, towards work, basically. Next one is ice bath, and Next one is cold shower, and we differentiate this from ice bath.
Yes.
Because, in my opinion, it's a lot easier to do a cold shower, and the benefits are very similar.
I agree, yeah. You're basically removing a lot of the friction, getting basically the 80-20 of an ice bath. Something that's a lot easier to do consistently, pairs really well in the morning in a habit stack for a routine. It's definitely going to go to a different position for me. It's going to go a bit higher, but still it's just a shower. Like
Right.
It's not going to be the difference between you signing 5 clients this month and not.
Yeah. I think if we think about a cold shower, it's going to give you all of the benefits essentially of cold exposure, improving your dopamine levels, focus, brown fat, all this. There's a lot of things people love to talk about.
Some jargon.
Yeah, a lot of jargon. It's going to give you essentially the same benefits of a ice bath, because all you need is to be uncomfortably cold. Also, everyone has a shower in their house, or basically everyone. Not everyone has an ice bath.
Or $1,000 to build one.
No, exactly, yeah. So like, for example, us, like we're currently in Colombia, and we moved here a few days ago. We're not going to go and build an ice bath or, bring a portable ice bath with us everywhere to get the same benefits as a cold shower, but it's just more difficult and more friction. I think most people are jumping in the shower in the morning. So it's like, rather than having a warm shower, have a cold shower. It's actually not changing anything, but it actually just gives you a little boost. I think it definitely wakes you up, gets you ready to start straight away.
And you're also getting the benefit of doing a difficult thing in the morning. Like you're uncomfortably cold for 5 minutes in the morning. And again, it's just like, that's probably a little bit easier than starting your work or, some of the things you have to do to move towards your North Star, to move towards your goals. So in that way, you're getting the benefit of doing, like eating the frog, doing the hard thing first.
I mean, we both do this every day, so it can't be really low.
So it can't be really low.
We would have removed it otherwise. Like we
Yeah.
removed everything between C and below.
I like it at the bottom of B right now.
Yes, I would agree that it's probably not as effective as exercising every day, and there's less other life benefits than daily exercise. So yeah, I think bottom of B for cold shower.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but it probably helps your sleep as well if you wait, because it wakes you up.
It spikes your
I'm gonna say,
cortisol.
yeah, spikes your cortisol, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bottom of B, we'll put it
again,
there.
we're making a rectangle here, not a distribution.
So this next one can't be in C tier then. Next one we have is private accountability. So specifically accountability related to doing the actions required to get you to your goal. Having someone behind the scenes that is holding you accountable, that you are talking to every day or every week, just to make sure that you are doing those behaviors.
Yeah, someone is going to call you out if you stray off the path. Basically, it's another stake in the ground that you've said you're going to do something and you've told other people about it. You've told people in your circle, people who can call you out when you're not taking those actions, and people you can like celebrate with, or you can basically celebrate with when you do the actions or when you reach the goals. Like they're aware of what the goal is and the fact you're trying to get there. Yeah. I think it has a big impact on the consistency piece, which is huge. Like the rate at which you can continue to do the inputs that you need to get to your North Stars is going to be a huge determining factor as to whether you reach your goal or not. How consistently can you do the actions that you need to get there? Because, if you have any sort of large goal, which you probably should, it's going to take a lot of time to get there. It's going to take a lot of repetitions. And so you're increasing the likelihood that you keep your foot on the gas pedal, that you continue making progress, that you stay consistent when other people know what you're doing.
I think I'd probably rate this a bit higher than you, because private accountability, when we look at everything else on this list, nothing else is directly related to doing the behaviors. A lot of these things, outside of the 90-minute deep work blocks and the decision elimination, everything else here is just improving your ability to do those behaviors. This is really saying, are you doing the actions to get you to your goals? And specifically, this is increasing the likelihood that you get there. Even if it's not hyper effective, it still is maybe a 5, 10, even up to 20% increase in your action taking. And the amount of time it takes is extremely low. So I think the ROI is really good. I'd actually rate this very highly. I think this is quite a strong ROI and probably a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about it like that, it's almost like it's a multiplier compared to some of these things being maybe additions or slight improvements. It's like, okay, yeah, you're doing the work. This is like a multiplier for how likely you to keep doing the work or to do the work on a consistent basis. So, yeah, that does give it a big boost.
For sure. This is definitely above B tier. Mm-hmm. I would say it's below S. I think it's better than website blocking. I think it's
top of A. I would go above 90-minute blocks here.
I would as well, actually. I think this is, so private accountability, top of A. Yeah?
I'm happy with that.
Okay. Next one we have is similar, but it actually is different in a big way because it changes the mechanism, and that is public accountability. So what is the difference, first of all, when we talk about private accountability versus public accountability?
Well, we're basically defining private as like within your circle. So like your friends, your family, people who you know and who know you. Public accountability would be posting a YouTube video. It would be letting the world know, making, a post on X. It's putting it out there into the world for absolutely anybody to critique and or comment on.
Or even maybe you're in a community or just like a group with a lot of people and your stats are getting shown to a lot of people. We're basically talking about just the quantity of people that know about your successes and failures is going up a lot. Maybe you care less about the opinion of each individual person, but there's just more people in general looking at you and looking at what you're doing.
Yeah, are we wrapping this up with competition, or are we keeping that as a separate?
I think we can wrap this up with competition.
Yeah, because I think it's the basis of competition is other people have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to know what other people are doing. It's a huge driver of keeping that hunger, that desire to keep performing, because there's the saying that you got to win in the middle, like the start of the race and the end of the race. Everyone's there to clap you on, but really the whole race is run in the middle, and that's when things get boring and it gets hard to continue taking the actions. So having public accountability mixed in with a bit of competition, healthy comparison to other people, and more importantly to your previous self, is a huge lever to pull to keep you going through probably the most difficult time of striving towards a goal, which is the middle section.
Yeah, 100%. I think the big difference here is that this hits both. I have to keep up with a perception that other people have of me based on the actions I do. And then also I'm trying to be better than other people. I'm trying to keep improving and beating. And you may look at this and think, oh yeah, but it's bad to be competitive or just focus on yourself. But we are social creatures. We look at what other people do. We try and improve and get better. And if you can add this element, especially for example, if you are competing over the exact same metrics, the exact same input metrics, and you can go, well, this guy did this amount, so I want to do more than that. And this pushes you and drives you to take more of the behaviors, specifically the behaviors moving you towards your goals. I think this is slightly more powerful than private accountability because there's just more people involved. I think there's just more stakes. And I think because there's more stakes, it's probably driving more action taking.
Yeah. The only piece I want to touch on here is with private accountability, you definitely care about what these people think, like your friends and family, the people in your inner circle. There's a chance, depending on how you're doing this public accountability, that, oh, well, I don't really care what Jeff 123 said about, my goals or the actions I'm taking towards my goals. But I think if you can up the ante for yourself a bit with, just basically just caring about the feedback that you're getting, then it is more effective. And you also just get a larger source to work from. There's more people when you go public than when you're just talking to your inner circle.
I think this is better than private accountability. I think this has to go top of A. I don't think it's pushing into S, but I think it's very strong.
Yeah, I mean, because we talked about with private that it's like a multiplier. It's increasing the likelihood that you actually take action. It's a similar mechanism, but slightly better.
I think
better returns.
100%.
But again, I think it depends who you're talking to. But I think there's much higher potential for it to have a better effect in public if you do it right.
Okay, next one is clean eating.
Clean eating, something we've done and not done throughout our lives.
When we talk about clean eating, I think we're going to define this as having a diet that's primarily composed of whole foods, because there's infinite diets and all these rabbit holes, but we'll just say eating predominantly 90% of your diet from whole foods.
Yeah, cutting the junk, basically.
Yeah.
The processed foods, because the process, it just makes you feel terrible. If you actually had to take a second, half an hour, a couple hours after you ate certain foods and you had to score it, the non-whole foods, the non-clean eating makes you feel worse. And it's going to affect your decision making. It's going to affect your energy. It's going to affect your alertness, all your baselines. And you want to be optimizing for how you operate at baseline. And you are what you eat, or how you eat affects how you feel all the time.
Yeah, I think if you just remove even any of the health benefits of whole foods and just look at, this is reducing my brain fog, this is making me make better decisions, giving me more energy. I think if you just look at those factors, it's quite beneficial, and you're not really doing much different. You're still eating the same amount of meals every day. You're just slightly changing what you eat inside of those meals. You're going to enjoy the meals less. They're going to be less tasty, but you're going to have big downstream benefits of focus, of energy, of decision making, again, which is just a super high leverage thing to do. I think clean eating is very high up there because it doesn't really take more time. It's basically
substitution.
Yeah, it's substitution. So ROI is extremely good. Benefits are decent, not insane,
and not direct. They're more associated with how you feel, and that then impacting the decisions you make and your performance. But I think it has a decent impact on your performance throughout a block of work as well. I think what you eat, like we were talking about with energy levels and focus, I think it has a pretty big impact. I'm thinking a top of B right now.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, B tier. I think it's sitting in that category of the consistent exercise and the cold shower. When we look at the tier list right now, everything that is C and below we've got rid of, and everything B and above we're doing. So
maybe a little bit of bias, but I also think it's interesting looking at the list that, like, other than sleep, everything else is very directly correlated to doing the work. Like it's about either drastically and directly improving the likelihood that you do the work, or it's like a strategy that you're deploying like within doing the work, like while you're at the desk. And then B down is basically like the fluff, is like the routine. It's the pre and the post work, how you're optimizing the rest of your life to get good returns while you are working. So that's just interesting to note at this stage.
Yeah, so I think we put clean eating top of B.
I'm happy with that.
Top of B. Okay.
We're keeping our rectangle shape here.
Excellent.
Quite nicely.
Yeah, we're getting back to even. Next one we have is dopamine fasting, or just excuse yourself.
We're fighting for position.
Which is essentially, the way we would define that is just living without online entertainment.
By yourself.
By yourself, yes. We'll differentiate that because the idea of never consuming online entertainment, even around other people, is almost impossible to do in the modern world and would result in you being antisocial. And as a consequence, if you're antisocial, life quality down significantly. Not worth it, but not consuming online entertainment by yourself in terms of a productivity hack, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, well, why don't you lead us off here, Mr. Over 500 days of life without solo online entertainment?
Yeah, this is probably one of the hardest ones that I've done consistently, and you as well. You've done this for a year now. But yeah, over 500 days living without online entertainment by myself. This has done more for me than anything else on this list combined. This has been the most powerful by a mile because this gives you more focus back, but a huge one is its subtraction. A huge amount of time back. There's very few ways you can get more time back than doing this. A huge amount of attention back. Think about your time and attention, your two most valuable resources, getting these back. Improving your focus, and then also increasing your dopamine baseline because you're not consuming things that just give you instant gratification, make you feel really good, but don't progress you forward. It means that you now have to receive dopamine from doing the work, which increases the likelihood that you do the work. All of these things combined for a subtraction activity, pretty insane.
It's like all the little levers that we were talking about mixed through all of these activities you can get as a result of this one. And it's a subtraction. Yeah. Like it's removing things from your life.
So what's your experience been like?
Yeah, I mean, about a year without solo online entertainment now, and it's really like unfathomable to think about the position I'm in now compared to a year ago when solo online entertainment was just like the baseline. And I think the biggest effect has just been the ability to do the work and it feel rewarding. And I think like that is what has compounded the consistency of the inputs that I've been able to achieve over the past year, has been the fact that it's a much easier thing to do now, is when you don't have the option of just going on my phone, of scrolling, of looking up Instagram or watching YouTube videos. Like, you've removed the lowest ROI choice and the easiest thing to do. And like, I mean, everyone talks about like, just make the thing that you have to do the easiest option, and then you're not relying on willpower. You're not having to like make a difficult decision all the time. Yeah, it's just like changing the whole sphere of how you look at having to be productive, is away from this, oh, it's like a really difficult choice that I have to like force myself to, make this decision and do this thing, to, okay, well, instead of doing that, why don't we just remove the option for you to not be doing productive things? Like, so then the options that you're choosing from are just instantly improved, and you can be more consistent. Yeah. And like you said, flow-on effects with like focus, all these things. Yeah, it's been a huge game changer, and it's alongside sleep, it's the one thing that I would not remove. Like, I'm not adding this back in at any point.
Okay, if we look at this entire list and we say that you can remove all of this, you can't do any of this stuff maybe for sleep, you're just normal average person sleep, but you can remove everything else, but live without online entertainment. Like these are your two options. You can do all this stuff, or you can do none of it and live without online entertainment. What do you think is going to make you more productive?
Yeah, without online entertainment. I reckon they're pretty equally weighted right now. But in terms of it just being a one thing, one subtraction, compared to having to do all of which we're factoring in the percentage chance that you do all of this stuff and how difficult it is, and the consistency piece, like it holds extra weight just being a one thing that's also a subtraction that you can do to get the returns. Like it's got to be the highest ROI. It's got to be going top of S.
Oh, for sure. For sure, top of S almost replaces this entire list, in my opinion. But yeah, just blows everything out the water. Like subtraction action directly improves action taking towards your goal, makes everything easier, gives you more time and attention back to allocate to your goals. Big, massive. All right, next one, workspace optimization. So this would be making your workspace in a way that it is slightly easier for you to work. So maybe you have two displays, you have a nice keyboard and mouse, you got a good chair, you kind of like your workspace versus, for example, this being your workspace right here. This is what I got. How much is this doing? How much of an improvement is this?
I'd say you could make it a lot worse than that. You could be sitting in a cafe on a plastic chair on a very loud road outside with some glare on your screen. Like, can get a lot worse than this right here. But
let's go. Baseline is sitting in your living room, on your laptop, just at the coffee table. That's it. Versus you have an ergonomic chair. You got a mouse with like a nice ergonomic trackpad, and you've got a nice keyboard, and you got 3 different displays. Like this is the difference.
Do we get to add in like the room's dark? I've got earplugs in. I've got headphones on.
Yeah,
it's definitely making a difference for sure. Like you're just naturally going to get distracted if you're in an environment that has other things going on, and you're not comfortable. Like as soon as the work gets difficult or you get bored, you have like a bit of back pain, or like it's just going to add friction. It's going to add friction to you actually doing the work. It's going to distract you, and it's probably you're going to be less likely to actually sit down and start working if you don't like think it's a good environment, or you don't enjoy, or it's not comfortable.
I'm looking at the list now. It's obviously not C. It could be B. It could be A. I think it's going somewhere in there. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a bit low. I was thinking like bottom of B. I wasn't even going to touch
really?
A here. Like, well, it's difficult to say. Like at the point where we're at now, where we're just so consistent with hitting our chain and like getting the work done, I think it would have a lot less of an effect once you've stacked some of these other things and you've got the consistency, you've got the momentum. But I think if starting out, it would definitely maybe have a more of an impact. But
yeah,
me looking at it for me right now, I would feel bottom of B.
Bottom of B. So what's it doing? It is improving your enjoyment of the work. It is reducing the friction to getting started. It is potentially reducing distractions, although living room versus your insane desk setup, similar amount of distractions, but it's just a more enjoyable place to work. Probably going to increase your action taking slightly, which is why I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But is it an 80-20? Not really. Like if you get yourself a mouse and a keyboard, you've done 90% of it, and another display would be good.
Yeah, not even that. I think those don't have as big of an impact as you think. Like you can type a little bit faster, but like just working on a task that's slightly higher leverage for you is going to have a much bigger effect than just like, oh, I typed 10% faster for the past hour. Like it's such a micro improvement.
Which is why when you look at S tier, all of these have a huge effect on decision making, being the highest leverage thing that you can do. Which is why they're always going to be S, and nothing is really going to go on S. It's not going to do that. Okay, let's put this bottom of B then.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the rest. Like if you had to if you had to remove everything that was beneath it and keep everything above it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Me too. Okay, optimized workspace is going bottom B. Next one we have is journaling. And because of this icon, I want to actually do... I want to do two separate ones because I know there's one that we haven't included here, which is reading, and I think is worth touching on. Let's talk about journaling first, though. This is specifically journaling. What do we think about journaling?
Okay, so journaling, like the act of just writing from your thoughts, like recording experiences, feelings, things from the day. How does it fit on the ultimate productivity tier list? Not particularly well. I guess it's giving me the same vibe as meditation here. Like a great thing to do is something that I do every day. I like to record what happened in the day, a few thoughts and a few feelings at the end of the day. Keep a log of like what's going on and the journey that I'm on. Do I think that it makes me more productive in my work? Do I think it gets me towards my goal? No. I think I could remove it and it would have zero impact on me progressing towards my goal.
Yeah, I think for journaling, I don't really use journaling in the normal sense. I have a massive spreadsheet, and each day I just do the most memorable part of the day. I just add to the spreadsheet, more just so I can have a track of the story. What happened? So I can look back on this and go, oh, this is what my life was looking like here. It's a cool thing to look back on. It has nothing to do with productivity, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think this is going to improve your effectiveness for your working. I don't think this is really doing anything. I don't want to put it in D tier, but I think it's worse than meditation. It's worse than ice bath. It's worse than drinking coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really lob it in with journaling, but one of the guys in the community was talking about with if you feel super overwhelmed, like with a task that you're like trying to tackle and you just like, you can't really figure out what you're supposed to do, or it just feels like there's lots of moving parts, just sometimes getting it all down on paper can be really helpful, just so you can visualize it, you can see, you can kind of break things down into manageable chunks. But that as like a task, I think you can separate from the act of journaling, which I see as like something you do consistently, and it's more about like your personal experience. I think, yeah, it's not super helpful. I'm happy with bottom of C. I would consider top of D.
Let's put this in D tier. I think journaling is D tier because I don't think it really has anything to do with productivity. I don't think this is on the same level as C.
In fact, I almost want to put it after sauna.
Yes.
Yeah. Sauna at least has like a little bit of an effect on your productivity.
Yeah, I think when it comes to productivity, journaling, junk. Like it's just not helpful.
Yeah.
Bottom of D. We've added in books, by the way, because I think this is going to be a good one to talk about. But next one we have is Pomodoro.
Which I'll take the floor for because
Cormac... I have never done this, by the way. So I have no experience in this. So this is Toby's.
He's not a Pomodoro guru, and neither am I. I actually don't know much about it at all. All I know is that I did it. And I think I did it because it's such a huge fad. Like, you could search up Pomodoro and there'd be 1,000 different posts about this being like the one thing you need to do, how you need to work. I did this a lot when I was studying in uni. It just gave me some level of structure to do the work. It's basically 50 minutes of work and a 10-minute break. And it's supposed to be able to increase your productivity, make you be able to work more, work longer. What's my experience with it? Meh. Very meh. Like you get similar benefits to the 90 minutes in terms of like having to stop tasks midway through, not having the fear of having to restart a new task. You can kind of keep your alertness with short breaks. Not optimized though for the actual rhythms of how you operate as a human. And yeah, I think it's just one of the fads I think people think and usually do implement very early on and try out, and a lot of people stick with, but I don't think it's going to be particularly high on the list. I think, where am I going right here? Probably middle of C, like in between ice baths and meditation.
Right. So it's essentially just a less effective version of 90-minute cycles. Okay, that's fine. We'll put it here. Middle of C for Pomodoro.
The overhyped aspect is definitely dropping it from like the fact it is similar to the 90 minutes, but I think it's just so overhyped that it needs to be put in its place.
Needs to be humbled.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, next up we have nicotine. Well, I mean, I'll say right now, we are chewing nicotine gum right now. So we use
Disclaimer.
I don't know where we're going to put this, but I have I anticipate that this is going to be the first thing that we do that is going to go below B.
Yeah, that we still do. Yeah, nicotine. Okay, so benefits of nicotine: mental cognition increased, focus, mostly just focus. I'd say increased. Delivery method, especially if you're going gum or like I guess pouch as well. Like you can do it while you're working, so you're getting all the payoffs while you're actually doing the task. It's a bit of an enhancer, I would say. And it can make you want to do the task more often. If you're only pairing it with the work, you can nicotine is a very powerful addictive substance. So if you can get addicted to working, that's going to make you extremely productive. Obviously some potential downsides if you then start smoking and become addicted to cigarettes, or in general just become addicted to nicotine. I mean, we know people who do pop like 50 milligram pouches. Like we're chewing 2 milligram gum right now. Yeah, 50 milligram is a different level.
I would throw up instantly. I would just be chundering every 50 milligrams that is insane.
Yeah, it's filthy.
Yeah, I think with nicotine, your focus is a bit better. That is almost it. You just have slightly better focus, and I guess you have more dopamine, so you're enjoying your work a little bit more. I think compared to caffeine, because it's sort of a 3-4 hour half-life, it's not going to disrupt your sleep, and sleep S tier, so it's not going to have as much of a negative impact on that. In terms of nicotine overall, because there's, as you say, so many delivery mechanisms, smoking not going to be particularly good at all. Obviously bad for your health. I even say pouches because you can't control the release as much. Not as great. I guess that's the only ways. I guess you could do patches, but nicotine gum, I think we'll say, is slightly better just because of the delivery mechanism, and you're getting similar effects to caffeine without so much of that increase in anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
kind of expensive as well for the
Yes.
effect it's giving you? Like it's not a cheap product. It's definitely a lot more expensive than coffee.
Yes. It's better than coffee. It's better than caffeine. If you're doing nicotine gum, is it going to change your life? No. Is it sort of a little thing that you can add occasionally, not all the time? Yes. For context, I do this once a week. I think you do this once a week as well.
Yeah.
When we're recording a podcast, that's literally it. And now for me, chewing nicotine gum is just associating myself with doing a podcast. And okay, you need to be more articulate now. But I don't think this is going to do a huge amount for you. And if it's just going to make you addicted to a substance and dependent on it, I don't think it's particularly helpful at all. I honestly think that for a lot of people, drinking coffee is going to be more addictive than chewing nicotine gum, especially because the release or the total amount is so much less. I think most people who are addicted to nicotine and chewed a 2 milligram piece of gum wouldn't even feel it. Oh. So this is beneficial when you already have zero tolerance. I think this is still a C tier activity though. I don't think I could put it into B.
Okay, because I was initially thinking the bottom of B, and I was going to ask you, would you rather be chewing nicotine gum working here or be in the setup environment with the ergonomic chair and the
Yeah, I'd rather be in an optimized environment.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially considering you can't do this every day.
Yeah,
you can be in your optimized environment every day.
Yeah, that's probably the difference maker for me too, if I think about it, being able to do it consistently.
And it's also probably not the best thing for your health. I've heard some things, it's neuroprotective, and I don't know.
It's a controversial field right now. It's a hot topic.
Controversial. I think it's top of C. I think it's better than everything else below it in C, but I don't think it's B. I think it's just in this category of little additions that might help a little bit. Like they're noticeable. Like you can tell that you've done it, but what is it doing?
Yeah, I like above caffeine.
Yeah, okay, so let's put nicotine bottom of C. Finally, a little Easter egg, a little addition. We have reading books, because I think about productivity. I actually think that reading books, for a lot of people, they see this as the king of productivity.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of books out there. There's infinite reading you can do on productivity.
Yeah. Let's go back to what are we solving for? Because I think that when we look at some of these, look at a lot of the activities in D tier. What are we solving for? Okay, why are you getting up at 5 a.m.? What are you solving for? I don't know. What am I actually doing up at 5 a.m.? Why am I journaling? Why am I doing this? Why am I in a sauna? Same thing with reading books. Like, what are we trying to do? We're trying to increase action taking towards our goal, towards growing our business. So what is books doing? Well, if you can use a book and you can extract the information from that book and use it to change your behaviors that you're currently doing to increase the speed at which you can get your goals, fantastic. How many people are doing that reading books though?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a book is usually the densest form of like actionable information you can get, especially like productivity books or, business books. Like they are usually someone's, life's work or, years of work they put into writing it so that it's, it's super actionable, it's dense information, it's all the best bits. But I think the reality of what people, what situation are people in when they're reading these books is they have all of this fear about starting doing something, starting the business or, changing their life in some aspect. And they think, oh, well, maybe if I know exactly what I need to do and I have all of the answers mapped up and I know all of the steps to get me to the goal, then I'll be able to start because I'll know like everything that I need to. But that's just a facade. And like you're just putting off starting, you're putting off the fear and you're not taking action, which is just building up even more fear. So it's really just like a bit of mental masturbation, thinking that you're preparing yourself to do this activity instead of just doing the activity. Like everything that isn't doing the thing is not doing the thing.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of us are trying to solve level 10 problems and we're level 1. And it's like you just need to get to level 2 first, and then you're going to probably need to figure out how to get to level 3, but by that point you're developing the skill set to allow you to ladder up. But the idea of I'm going to learn all the skill set required for me to get to level 10 and then I'm going to start is totally insane, and it'll significantly hinder your progress. I think in terms of books, if you have a deficiency in your knowledge that is required to get you to the next level, books are a very good deal. It's a very good investment to make because, as we say, or as you said, the density of information is very high. It's usually very synthesized, very well thought out, and very well laid out. So in terms of a return on time, reading books can be really good if you're searching to resolve a specific problem and the cause of that problem is a deficiency in your knowledge. Very few people now have a deficiency in knowledge though. So I think we just live in a different world. Maybe 100 years ago, reading books would be a productive thing to do because there's not this abundance of information, but now we do have the abundance of information. The deficiency is the action taking to the next level. So in my opinion, this does not help. Reading books takes a long time, and you're generally just reading because you think reading is productive. But reading is not doing anything. It is just sitting there and acquiring and putting things in your brain. If you can't take action on those things, then they just get stored in short-term memory and you forget about them because they're not useful information. Useful information is the information that you can act upon. So you're just going to forget about it. Like that's the way I see it. So I actually think that books are one of, if not the most overrated productivity things that you can possibly do.
Yeah, I was thinking about the angle of like, maybe if you read like some of the best books out there, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like these ones, they can like break limiting beliefs. They can like change how you think. But then I was like, how many people have read those books and nothing changes? Like just because it, maybe one or two books had a big impact on me, because I took action on them, doesn't make the books shouldn't put the books really high up on the list just because of that. Because it's really the action taking, and yeah, that's really it. It's the action taking. Like it's how much do you attribute to the book compared to the action?
That's true. I think a lot of books or just information and looking at people ahead of you, it can make you think bigger, which is helpful. I don't think thinking bigger is the issue for a lot of people now, though.
No, it's not the limiting factor. It's not.
So when we look at books and we look at our tier list right now, it's going below B for me.
Yeah, I was going top of D. I think a lot of the time you're better off meditating than reading because like you don't need to be told new things. You need to be reminded of the things you already know. And a lot of the time you just need clarity of thought to make a good decision. which you're going to get from elimination or from like not doing anything compared to just stacking even more information on top. Especially like you probably have a path, you have a direction, you know what the next couple steps are. Reading a book there's a good chance that it makes you divert your path. Think, oh, no, this is the technique that I need. This is the path that I need to be following. Change your vehicle, change your strategy. And then you just lose all of the compounding effects of being consistent. So I think that like it can be extremely unhelpful.
I think if we look at the top of S, removing online entertainment, one of the things that we haven't talked about is that removing online entertainment removes so much noise. It removes so many different pieces of advice, different methods, different ways of doing things. And this is really you reallocating your attention and then just putting it into the thing that gets you to the next level. And I think when you look at books, it's just opening up different channels and different possibilities. Great, I have all these possibilities, but this is oftentimes just confusion where you go, well, now I don't know what to do. Now I'm questioning if this is the right path, if this is the right way. The lowest leverage thing that you can possibly do is stop doing what you're currently doing, that you've been acquiring and building up skills to get better returns on your time at that task, and then switching to a different one and starting all over again, which is a lot of the time what happens when you come into contact with new information that might make you want to deviate and change paths.
You say that like someone who might have gone through that cycle.
Yes. No, I started and quit 4 different businesses before making a single dollar out of any of them because I was reading books and watching videos about this is the vehicle. This is what you need to do. 90% of vehicles are going to get you to where you want to get to. It's more, are you doing the behaviors that are required to get you there? Look at productivity. Productivity is how do I do more of those behaviors? That's why when you look at the top is all things that increase the likelihood and increase the returns that you get on the time on doing those behaviors. And at the bottom, it's things that are really just avoiding the behaviors and just doing stuff because this is productive. Because I think a lot of us, especially us when we were doing these bottom tasks, is that you look at productivity and you think it's Boolean. When I say Boolean, you think it's black or white. Yes, I'm productive. No, I'm not. But there's a reason this is a tier list. It's not just a 2 sides of an equation, yes or no. It's because it's how strong of a return can I get on my time. And if you look down the bottom, these are all things that are getting you really poor returns on your time. And they're not necessarily that productive. Yes, they might be better than doing nothing, but we're forgetting about the limited resource, and that's time. You only have 24 hours in a day. If you just allocated all of your time to the things up the top end of this graph, up at the S and A tier, and forgot about everything down here, you progress so much quicker doing 1 or 2 of these behaviors up here than doing all of the behaviors from B and below.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy anywhere from bottom of C throughout D.
I don't want to put it in... I kind of do want to put it in D. Oh, this is hard. Maybe top of D.
Yeah, top of D or bottom of C.
I think it has use cases when you have a deficiency of information. I think people are just misusing it. So I think we can put it bottom of C. Okay. Reading books, bottom of C, the most overrated productivity thing that you can possibly do. This is our current tier list. I'm looking at this and I'm actually very happy where we are right now. Is there anything you would change?
No, I was just reviewing it before. I don't think we need any changes.
All right, so let's go from bottom to top. So very bottom, the worst thing that you can possibly do that is considered productive, waking up early. Why? Why are you getting up early? It doesn't matter when you do the tasks, it's that you get them done. And if you're just making your routine fragile and starting your day off with a loss because you don't get up at 4 a.m., not very smart. Next one we have is journaling.
Yeah, low ROI, doesn't really impact anything that you're doing in your work. It's just a bit of mental, it's a good thing to do, but it's not going to affect your productivity. It's a D tier.
Sauna, in terms of a return on your time, it is just horrendous.
Yeah. Takes like 30 minutes to start getting benefits and then negligible flow-on effects that you'll have basically just throughout, like improving your health.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good thing to do while you're socializing. Reading books can be detrimental, can be really beneficial. On average, the way most people are applying books, not particularly helpful whatsoever. Meditation, clear benefits, somewhat clear benefits. ROI, not great.
Again, like has more of an impact if you're like, if just getting used to being bored or like that's a more difficult task than the work, like has some use cases, but overall, yeah, pretty meh.
Pomodoro, it works. It's not going to be the most effective way of allocating your work blocks
And it's overhyped.
and extremely overrated. Yep. Ice bath, hard to do. Clear benefits in terms of how you feel over a certain period of time. Not gonna change your world in any way. Okay.
Again, makes the work a little bit easier. It's a hard thing to do, but difficult to do consistent and or bring with you. Yeah, and it's having flow-on effects. It's nothing direct.
Yeah. Caffeine, clear benefits, clear drawbacks. Have things above caffeine in terms of on this tier list. You're doing those things. You don't need it. So all you're really getting is anxiety, reducing your sleep quality.
It's a band-aid, really.
It is, yeah. We lived in Buenos Aires in Argentina for 2 months, about 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Everyone just lives off caffeine. They get up, black coffee. Lunch, black coffee. Dinner, black coffee. Okay, it's mate time, right? At 5, 6 p.m. More caffeine. Okay, we've had dessert, have a coffee. All day, just supplementing poor sleep quality. Most of them are going to bed at like 2 a.m. Just a really late night culture, but then they still work 9 to 5. So I don't know how that works. And just live off caffeine. I'm not sure how highly they're functioning.
Just such a high chance of having detrimental effect on your sleep. So just poor.
And just from my subjective perspective, my anecdotal perspective on this, having removed it, quality of life improved, work did not change at all. So very good to live without. It's very meh. Next one is nicotine.
Same as caffeine, just slightly better, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it deserves its place above caffeine.
Yeah, it's okay. Optimized work environment, just having a nice place to work where you want to be.
Set and forget, something you can do once, has ongoing effects. Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. Cold shower, similar benefits of an ice bath. Basically just your morning shower is cold rather than hot, so it doesn't really take much time. It's good, it makes you alert, feel pretty decent, can help you get your day started quickly. Not a huge addition, so it's
substitution, and it's the 80/20s of the ice baths. That's why it's above. I like it.
Yep. Clean eating, another substitution one. It just it improves your decision making, improves your energy slightly. Obviously has health impacts that are unrelated directly to this productivity, but it's good.
Yeah, it's moving the baseline up.
Yeah. Daily exercise done at the right times, done at the wrong times can be destructive. Doing it before your work reduces your energy, reduces your energy cognitively and physically. But do it after improves long-term energy and can have positive impacts on your work and improve your sleep. So decent. That's B tier. Then A tier is where you really start to getting into things that are very high ROI, and I think everyone should be doing.
Yeah, 100%. So website blocking, easy, set and forget. Hundreds of different apps and tools you can use to complete this, but set it up once and remove thousands of hours of distractions, really, and focus on the needle moving tasks.
Yeah, that's a big one. 90-minute work cycles. You're just working with the way that your brain actually functions and operates. Obviously, this is just directly related to you doing the tasks as well. So it's just a really stronger, a lot stronger version of Pomodoro that's underhyped. Not that hype really has anything to do with the tier list, but it is just a more effective way of working. Obviously, it keeps the loops open for you to come back into, and you're doing nearly double the work per cycle than Pomodoro, which is cool. Next one is private accountability. So,
talking to your inner circle, friends and family, letting them know, this is what I'm going to do consistently, this is how I'm going to get to my goal, keeping you accountable. It's going to improve your consistency, improve the likelihood that you take action. It's directly correlating to your productivity.
Yep, so that's good. And then public accountability, kind of same thing, but just in a public sphere, brings more competition into it, just more at stake, more people involved. So it's just a better version of private accountability. Then S tier, this stuff, if you do this, you can forget the rest of this and it will be more effective than all this combined. Removing decision fatigue. This is just huge.
Pre-making decisions, being proactive about it. So you sit down, you just say, oh, I'm working on this task. You've already made that decision. You make better decisions when you can lay it out beforehand. You lay out the pros and the cons. You make that decision ahead of time.
just removing decisions you have to make in the moment, reducing emotion, just improves your decision making a lot and really just improves your action taking, which is huge. This is the biggest action taking improver, I would say, out of all of these. Maybe this one. Next we have sleep optimization. This is probably the best thing you can do for your health. One of the best things that you can do for your productivity. It's just improving what you're doing every day anyway, just making it a lot better. This is massive. Better for your decisions, better for your energy, better for your subjective well-being, better for your life. It's just good.
Yeah, like I said, if you could market it as a pill, it would be the number one thing everyone would be doing.
Yeah. And then finally, we'll call this living without online entertainment. I think we've come to the conclusion that this is better than everything else combined. All of your time back, all of your attention back, makes your goals easier to work on and makes you enjoy them more. Kind of just insanely OP. Hard to do if you are trying to do this through motivation willpower. So probably something that you want to figure out how to do without relying on motivation willpower, because if you do rely on motivation willpower, it's guaranteed to fail long term because you're guaranteed to not always have motivation willpower. So
yeah, I mean that's my personal experience with it as well. Is like I tried removing. At first I just tried restricting it, with like blockers on the phone. Then tried removing it for periods, but just relying on the fact that like this is something I really want to do and I know will be good for me, but never really lasted until I had a proper system in place for actually implementing it.
Yeah. So speaking of that system, if you guys, I'm looking at this list right now. If you guys really want to implement everything from S and A tier, we talk a little bit about B tier stuff, but if you are a high ticket consultant or you're an agency owner and you want to implement all of this, S and A, without relying on motivation willpower, you can get started for free in the Modern Monk community. So I'll leave a link in the description below for that. If you are not a high ticket consultant or agency owner, then the next video I recommend watching is right here. And we don't know what this is right now, but it's going to depend on what YouTube thinks is going to be the best information for your current situation. So whatever this is, if you're not joining the Modern Monk community, I'm not seeing you there, I'll see you in that video.
And if you're interested in implementing the C and D things, you can just hit me up in the DMs. I'll help you out with those.
All right. See you soon.
See you then.
Cheers.